She's back.
All the best people are crazy. All the best people are.
What's up, crazies? My name's Jessie, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As someone who has worked in post-production as a conforming artist, I can tell you a lot about how movies are made and what to notice while watching them. I know, it has been a while. I just had a lot of things going on in my personal life, which is why videos have been scarce and will stay scarce and sporadically for the foreseeable future. But there is one life change that I want to share that inspired this video. I'm an ant! Woohoo! I'm holding for applause.
I'll hold now for a 5-minute applause break. Do it!
This feels right.
And watching my sister go through pregnancy and giving birth, I realized just how little I knew of what goes on in a woman's body during that time and what happens to her. And then I thought, because I always think about movies 24/7, about how that topic is represented in movies and television shows. And after consorting with my sister and friends who have also had kids, I realized that the way that it is presented is often very unrealistic and not at all what it's truly like. It's very inaccurate and almost flippant, as if it's just a normal Tuesday of having this whole other human being grow inside of you. So in this video, I want to look at a few examples of popular movies and TV shows and look at how realistically pregnancy and giving birth are portrayed in them. Let's dive in. One of the biggest things shows and movies always seem to forget is that being pregnant is extremely uncomfortable. Your body goes through these rapid changes which you can barely keep up with mentally and physically, while simultaneously always making sure that it's in the perfect condition to grow an entire human in just 40 weeks. The first months you feel nauseous, in some cases even past the first trimester, and also in some cases not just in the morning, no, all day long. Of course, every pregnancy is different and every woman experiences pregnancy and its symptoms in a different way, but seemingly the only symptom that is portrayed on television is like this itty bitty tiny little bit of morning sickness, and then she's fine the rest of the day. It's never talked about how being nauseous can be all day long. That it's a struggle to go to work and breathe in the air with people around you with their various different smells, or that it's a struggle to even find something that you can eat that doesn't make you feel sick. It's also never talked about that there are more things than just caffeine and alcohol that you have to cut out of your diet when you're pregnant. There are so many more things pregnant women have to keep track of. No raw meat, no raw fish or seafood, no raw eggs, no unpasteurized food, some herbs, certain fruits and vegetables, and even certain seeds. Furthermore, you have various different pains. Back pain, stomach pain, feet pain, neck pain, rib pain, because your baby keeps kicking you in the ribs. And you want to tell me someone can, say, still run down the street chasing after criminals in that state? I love The Rookie, but each of the pregnancy and giving birth stories in that show have made me so mad and annoyed me so much because they are all of them so unrealistic, which is crazy to me because the actresses were pregnant. They wrote the pregnancies into the show because the actresses were pregnant and then they didn't say anything. I don't understand. In season 4, Detective Nyla Harper tells her colleague,
"If it is a pregnancy side effect, I will get it."
And yet nothing changes, really. She can do her job perfectly. She has a few mood swings here and there, like she's usually sarcastic and just looks very like this all the time, and then suddenly she's like, but that's it. If she really had every pregnancy symptom in the book, she would not be able to stay upright. She would be face down in a toilet being nauseous. She would constantly complain about various bodily pains, and she would probably not be able to work as a police officer in those conditions. One of my friends who recently gave birth struggled with extremely bad nausea, even past the first trimester. And she said she would not have been able in that state to do any kind of job where she had to do anything physically, which is what a police officer does. She also said that in that first trimester, she also said that in that first trimester, you are so exhausted because your body is going through all of these extreme changes, and its number one priority is to make itself the perfect condition of growing a human being. Now, imagine being a detective in the LAPD, going to crime scenes, driving around the neighborhood on patrol, chasing after criminals. You can't do that when you're in this dreadful state of nausea and exhaustion. That's just unrealistic. Nope. Now, take this scene from The Rookie, for example. Yes, we're staying with The Rookie because they're a prime example of what the heck. Now, Detective Angela Lopez and her fiance Wesley Evers are expecting their first child. This pregnancy has to be very carefully monitored because Wesley carries some kind of disease in his DNA that could gravely affect their child and its well-being.
I'm predisposed to Fragile X syndrome. It can cause mental disabilities, seizures.
So they do tests, the tests come back negative, but it would stand to reason that as the parents, you would still be super cautious and super focused on making sure that really nothing is wrong with your baby and ensure that it's fine every step of the way in the pregnancy, right?
Even if the mutated gene we're afraid of is detected, we won't know if my baby's affected until it's born.
Well, in this particular episode, Wesley has scheduled an appointment with the OBGYN at the local hospital when a mob boss called La Fiera that Lopez is after also happens to be at this hospital. So now, please guess, put in your guesses, what does Lopez do? Does she, A, give the responsibility of investigating what this mob boss is up to her colleagues whom she trusts and who also happen to be at this local hospital at the exact same time? What a coincidence. So she can take care of her baby. Or B, does she keep pushing the appointment multiple times in order to eavesdrop on some mob boss conversation thing that La Fiera has with another dying mob boss? What do you think she does? Yes, it's B. Instead of going to her appointment, she keeps pushing it.
I gotta step out for a quick sec.
What? We're up next.
And Wesley is being rightfully upset with her.
You should hand La Fiera off to someone else, at least until after the baby.
I can't do that.
Yes, you can.
She's just constantly like, oh, we can just go in later. It's more important to listen in on what La Fiera is talking with some other mob boss. And I'm just here like, get your priorities straight, woman. You are pregnant. This is your first pregnancy. The test came back negative, but you never know. Go to your stupid appointment. It takes like, what, 20 minutes? She will still be there in 20 minutes. Your colleagues can eavesdrop on their conversation and fill you in later. It's so dumb. Also, by the way, this storyline leads to La Fiera kidnapping Lopez, wanting to steal her baby, which then results into a very ridiculous rescue mission and the death of one of the best characters of the show. Cool. Great. Go to your doctor's appointment, ladies. Let the other people in your life deal with your La Fieras, okay? Good. I asked my friends who've been pregnant about this too, and they said that as a mother, your most important thing to you is the health of your child, whether they're born yet or not. This is the most important thing to you, that your child is happy, healthy, and alive. And it weighs on you to keep them healthy. It's not at all as flippant as, well, you know, whatever, we can just do that like later. Nope. That's not at all the mindset of a mother. And of course, you can't generalize and there's always exceptions, but the way that Lopez was portrayed in the previous episodes, or also in the previous seasons of the show, because this is further in, it's not like her to be like this, especially in the previous episodes before this, when she finds out about Wesley and this genetic thing that he has. She's like so concerned, she's so scared. They make like a whole big deal about it and they fight about it. Like, it's really seriously talked about, and Lopez struggles with this in the previous episodes. And then they come to this episode, and suddenly she's like, oh, the test came back negative, so who gives a shit? It's so weird because she's not someone who would not give a crap about this, but suddenly they've written it like she doesn't give a crap, like it's not important anymore, and that just does not make sense from a character point of view, but also from a realistic motherly point of view. It just does not make the least bit of sense. Before my sister and friends got pregnant, I had never even heard of such a thing as pregnancy brain. But it truly is a thing. During pregnancy, you can become extremely forgetful and clumsy. Your body is so busy growing a person and making sure to provide everything that it needs to be healthy that motory or memory functions can be neglected. And in some cases, even driving becomes dangerous because you're not able to focus as much as you should when you're driving, and you can be more prone to accidents. But all of these women in TV never seem to have it. I'm going back to The Rookie because, again, it's a prime example of what the heck. Pregnant characters in The Rookie still drive around on patrol behind the steering wheel, not causing accidents or forgetting street names or police codes they have to give through to patrol when something's going on, like the code for burglary or domestic violence, whatever. There's codes for that. They don't forget that. They can remember it all. Or let's take another show, Inventing Anna, for example, where the journalist Vivian Kent drives around the country all the time, collecting evidence and interviews for her article about Anna Delvey. She never mixes up any names of the people she interviews, or forgets to call someone back, or forgets to write something down or something. She's just super on top of everything whilst being pregnant, which the pregnant people in my life have assured me that this is highly unrealistic. Now, if I asked you, what does a woman in labor look like? What does she do? I bet 99% of you would answer that she's lying in bed eating ice chips.
Thought you might like some ice chips.
Right? Did I get you? But what if I told you that that was actually not good for the mother at all? During labor, it's much, much better to walk around, keep active, try different bodily positions to soothe your nervous system and help coach your body through the contractions. This is the case for natural births. When you get an epidural, that's a whole other story. Did you know, I didn't know this, there is actually a certain window during labor where you have to get the epidural. And sometimes doctors can miss that window, which happened to a friend of mine, and then you're forced to go through it without the epidural. Also, when you have the epidural, then you can't move, and then you go lie on the bed and lie on your back. But that's only the case for epidurals. However, in historic shows where there were no epidurals, the women still always lie on their backs whilst giving birth. That is not historically accurate in the slightest. There is one historic show that I can think of which portrayed a natural birth quite accurately, actually, and that is Outlander. In season 1, Jenny, the sister of James Fraser, one of the main characters, gives birth, and his wife Claire helps her. And in this scene, you can see Jenny walks around, she tries to concentrate on her breathing, she's positioning her body in different ways to help with the pain, and she does not lie on her back. Also, in a later season, Claire's daughter also gives birth, and there she also doesn't lie on her back, but she actually sits in a chair, and the baby falls into the hands of the midwife, which is also a lot more realistic than her lying in bed, and that's also not what happened back in the day. So props to Outlander for actually being historically accurate. But in modern shows, they just always sit the women in wheelchairs, have them lying on their backs the entire time whilst they go through labor. And then when it is time to actually give birth, they just show the women screaming their fucking heads off. When actually, screaming is the freaking last thing you should be doing. Actively giving birth is the biggest, most intense body workout you can ever do as a human being. It requires all of the strength that you have, and you would be a fool if you wasted any ounce of that strength screaming. My friend said if a woman screams during labor, then she was not well prepared or coached by the midwife and should sue that midwife. What you should instead do is breathe. Breathe deeply, slowly, make deep sounds, and try to relax as best you can. Because when you scream, you tense up, and that makes the pain that much worse. Another thing that annoys me so much in film and television is the moments when women go into labor. It is always in the most inconvenient moments, often stressful and even dangerous situations, like in The Wheel of Time, for example, where Rand's mother gave birth to him whilst on the freaking battlefield, or also in one of my favorite shows, but still, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where Amy gives birth during a city blackout emergency situation.
What do you need the sweatpants for?
My water just broke, which reminds me we should be prepared to distribute emergency water and food.
Your water just broke!
Where she has to take care of the entire precinct. And in situations like these, for your labor to start is highly unlikely. Not that it never happens, but in TV and shows, it's always only in those moments. Statistically, unrealistically portrayed. Your body is much more likely to start having contractions and the water breaking when you feel safe and secure, when your oxytocin levels are high and you don't need to worry about danger and can fully concentrate on giving birth, rather than in moments when you're stressed and your adrenaline is high. That is evolutionary nonsensical to give birth to your offspring in a dangerous environment. Cuddling your partner, for instance, increases your chances of labor starting much more than giving your all in an intense boat race on fricking open water. Looking at you, cheaper by the dozen too. Another thing is, and I've touched upon this now a little bit also with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but how low priority active labor is given. Countless times have I seen women in labor still working, like Amy.
Amy, you need to get the out of here. I'm just at the start of my labor. I don't have to go to the hospital until my contractions are 3 minutes apart and last for at least 45 seconds.
Or, let's stay with cops, Maddie in 911, or also Vivian Kent in Inventing Anna, where taking some 911 call, one last 911 call, or finishing some article, which, by the way, both things other people can take over for you. Those things suddenly, have higher priority than going to the fucking hospital in time. My friend told me that after a certain time, the contractions are so incredibly painful that you are unresponsive. Like, you can't talk or respond to anyone. You're just in pain. You can't think clearly, and all you are is in your giving birth zone. You would not be able to write an article in that state, or take care of a citywide blackout, or send the fire department to the right address during your 911 call. And don't get me started on The Rookie and the episode where Harper gives birth during a home invasion where she subdues 2 men twice her size whilst in active labor and delivering the baby by herself without the help of anyone.
It's a girl.
As if.
As if.
I think women are super women, but that's putting the expectations like exponentially too high for realism. What the heck? And finally, let's talk about the aftermath. Giving birth is about the most intense and incredible thing the human body can accomplish and endure. The strength it takes is unfathomable. It literally breaks your body. And when something is broken, it needs time to heal. I am most shocked at The Rookie. For instance, they only get 6 weeks off after giving birth.
I will spend the next 6 weeks just staring at this little angel.
And they are then expected to be back at work after those 6 weeks. Dude, what? This may be my German privilege talking, where family leave is 12 months, but 6 weeks is diabolical. You're barely healed by then, and in no condition to do anything physically demanding or draining, like being a police officer. Also, what if after giving birth, you happen to get an infection, which is not uncommon, so you have to be hospitalized again? There is no way you're ready and up and at 'em to go to work after 6 weeks. Plus, you're still breastfeeding, of course, which means you need a place to pump at work and a fridge to store your milk in. You also have to have your baby trained on accepting the bottle after 6 weeks, which is not that easy, just switching from breast to bottle, and is not guaranteed to work on a 6-week-old. And maybe I'm going too much into detail here, but no, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about these things. Let's name them. Okay, imagine you're still breastfeeding, you're on a stakeout, and your breasts start leaking, because did you know that breasts leak? They just drip, the milk just drips. I didn't know that. Now you know, you're welcome. So imagine you're on a stakeout and that starts happening. You can't just pump at the stakeout, can you? So, what are you supposed to do then? Like, let it drip? I know that there are pads for that, but what if you need to change them? Do you call for backup to come to your location so you can pop in to like a public restroom somewhere to change your milk pads? It's just so ridiculous. Like, I've never thought of these things, and I don't think anyone in the world has ever thought of these things, because there are so many logistics where women who have just given birth are not being considered at all. And it is so normalized after having gone through the most bodily breaking thing in human history, and that a human body could ever do. You're supposed to just function again, but you don't. We talked about pregnancy brain. Have you ever heard of breastfeeding brain? No? Cool, because that also exists. Pregnancy brain and the brain fog that comes with having a baby does not stop when the baby is born. Your body still only exists for your child, and you sacrifice your body. You sacrifice everything, your body, your time, your needs, just for the sake of providing everything you can for your little, fragile, cute little baby, helping it grow, feeding it countless times during the day and night. And plus, you are so sleep deprived because the baby needs constant feeding, attention, warmth, closeness, diaper changes. And all of that has not found its groove after 6 weeks. Definitely not. You know, if anything, researching this has just reminded me of how horrible the American healthcare system is over there. And then they wonder why the birth rates are declining. It's a real head scratcher, isn't it? I wonder how, I wonder why they're not providing enough time off for moms. I think what annoys me the most about how pregnancies are being portrayed in film and TV is that they pretend as if it's just having a bigger belly than usual. And that's it. But 99% of what it means to be pregnant for a woman is completely disregarded. And I think that that does an injustice to us women. Becoming pregnant, being pregnant, giving birth, and raising a newborn are incredibly body-breaking and exertional things that nobody seems to want to write about or portray accurately. But just like in every other part of our lives, women are just expected to function under unthinkable bodily pain and discomfort. Pain. Period pain? Who cares? Do your job. Pregnant? Who cares? Do your job. Gave birth a couple of weeks ago? Who cares? Come back to work, even if you're still in the middle of healing. Postpartum depression? Who cares? Just be glad you have a healthy baby, bitch. And this might be a hot take, but portraying pregnancy in such a flippant way in popular TV shows and movies is misogynistic, in my opinion, because it devalues the sacrifice women make every single day to bring new life into this world. You know, I heard recently someone said, actually, the world is just women and their children. And if you think about it, that is objectively true. Women are incredible, and what we're capable of, what our bodies are capable of, is nothing short of a miracle. And we deserve for it to be portrayed accurately, even if that might force writers to do a teeny tiny little bit of more research. Feel free to use this video and credit me later. You're welcome and thank you. Or also even if it makes some of the viewers a bit more uncomfortable. Suck it up. Imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. What do you think about the way that pregnancy and giving birth are portrayed in popular TV shows and movies? Do you have other examples of shows I didn't mention? Or maybe also things that you noticed that I missed? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, but also my second channel, Jessie Grace, where I make music. And my third channel, which is a podcast that I have with my sister. It's called The Way, the Truth, and the Lies. It's about spirituality and faith and how we both broke out of a very toxic belief system. We just released a new episode for Pride Month where we talk about why homophobia makes sense for Christians. If that interests you, links to everything are down below. I apologize again for being MIA for so long. I have just been super busy with life and being the perfect aunt. But the Heartstopper movie will be releasing very soon, and you betcha I'ma be there day one. So be looking forward to that. We have a Heartstopper summer before us, guys. So thanks again for watching. Stay crazy. See you in the next one. Bye! You know, I have the feeling that ants now know that I'm an ant because I keep finding ants in my house. One crawled up my leg yesterday. I did not at all freak out and hit it 5 times. No. I kind of regret having now officially branded myself as an ant because apparently now the ants have recognized me as one of their own and are invading my house. Tips on how to separate yourself from that community. Welcome in the comments. What do I say?